So one of the last topics that we will look at advanced Apex is the queuable. We already seen the implement batchable example. Now we'll see the queuable. Now you can create an asynchronous class and make it queuable. Okay, so make it queuable. So like basically it'll have one execute method, like similar to that schedulable, but here it is queue. You can enqueue this job. Okay, there you can schedule a job. Both will generate job IDs. So here basically we are trying to create an account. So the how do you enqueue the job is you basically say system.enqueue job and you call this class. So just like calling a batch apex, once you do this, it will create a, it's going to create a, it's going to schedule this job asynchronously. And if you want to query the information about your submitted job, perform SQL query or async job by filtering the system.enqueue job here. Okay. And now it will tell you whether the job is in progress, whether it is completed, whether there are errors. So this one, basically what you do is you implement the queuable interface and then you have to add the execute method, which is the interface method. It takes the queuable context, which is a system object. Once you do this, you'll have to enqueue this class. Once you create this class, this will be a standalone class. Then you say system.enqueue job and you instantiate this instance. So when you instantiate this object of this class, this will get scheduled, okay, and it will go into an asynchronous queue. You can query it from the async apex job if you want. All right, now this is an example, like you can have multiple, you can chain to a next job also. Now within the execute of the one queuable, you can call another queuable also. Okay, you can directly call another one once this job is done. So you can, chaining of queuable jobs are allowed. And if you want to stop a job, you say suppose it's a long running asynchronous job, you can say system.abort job. Okay, another thing over here is in the queuable you can also call a batch apex also, so nothing stops you, so you can instantiate that. So you got to be careful, like whenever, and suppose it's a long running job, you can do abort job, but you have to query for the job ID. Once you get it, you can abort that job. So let's look at the batch apex up to 50 million records. What are the advantages? It can be scheduled to run, can do asynchronous processing, but there are some limits. Only 5 concurrent jobs can be running at a time. It's difficult to be troubleshoot because it's running asynchronously large jobs. And one more thing is execution may be delayed based on server ability. And how this asynchronous jobs run is they will wait for the resources to be complete, to be available. Now, if there are a lot of work happening in the front end or in due to some other general processing, so resources may not be available. So in that case, execution may get delayed because it will wait for the resources to be available. Another thing is at the rate future methods are not allowed. Batch apex, because these are long running, and if you give future methods, it will go into a very big loop, hang and wait for a very long time. Salesforce doesn't allow that. So if you look at all these three, you can compare. You can use batchable for processing, async, quick queuable you can use for some particular types of jobs. At the rate future, if you want, you can use for certain things, but you cannot change jobs, and only one job can call out in queuable. So these you can do a comparison here. Basically, mostly you'll use batchable a lot, and at the rate future at times you'll use, if you know that that integration call, it's a legacy system, is going to take some time. Okay, so these are some broad advanced topics that we have covered in Apex programming, in addition to the core Apex that we did in the last few sessions. Test class we have already seen here. So you can invoke asynchronous Apex between the test start, you can test it. So test start, that is another one. If you remember the test classes we have seen, test.start, test stop, test, all will execute synchronously. Okay. If you want to test your, all the classes have to be tested. Batch Apex also cannot go without code coverage. So it will all run synchronously. So keep that in mind. And then we look at the deployment options. Now, suppose you have created a code configuration. How will you deploy? The 3 deployment options that we have in Salesforce are chain set, IDE, Visual Studio Code, or ANT. Chain set is preferred Salesforce, where you can select the objects configured Apex that you have written. It will ask you for a complete, and it will run the test classes, and it runs it on the, when it deploys it either on sandbox or on production. Okay. Visual Studio Code can be used to create packages which you can deploy to a target server. We will see the complete setup of Visual Studio and GitHub for Salesforce Apex. Okay. So with this, we are done with the advanced Apex. The pending demo is of the IDE Visual Studio Code. Chain set we cannot show in development. Chain set, I will share a link from Salesforce where you can see it. But you can use the Visual Studio Code. We will look at it, how to install, how to set it up, how to use it for development. Thank you.